Hey YouTube, what's going on? I'm Greg. Welcome back to my machine shop, where we're going to continue our work on the cylinder head for our 30cc Wallaby engine. Today we're going to be making the rocker arms and the rocker arm brackets. I've got my prints right here, but let's go and take a look at the 3D model to get a sense of what these parts are and what they do. All right, let's go. Here's our Wallaby 30cc engine. The head assembly is on top, of course, with the carburetor here, the exhaust pipes coming out here. Today we're going to be focusing on the rocker arms, these green rockers here, and the rocker pivot bracket, this blue bracket right here. So the push rods push up and down and then act on the rocker arm here, which push the valve open and let it spring closed. All right, let's take a look at the prints. Figure out how we're going to fabricate these parts. Let's start with the rocker arm. I cut these out of a piece of 1/4 inch mild steel and ended up with 4 rocker arm blanks. I used the CNC machine, but you can fabricate these manually if you'd like. I would use this 1-to-1 template to cut these out. This shape here is the classic Edgar T. Westbury rocker arm. It doesn't need to be this complicated. What's really important is we have a 1/4 inch hole here, reamed to size, and then a 1/2 inch, we have a divot, if you will, made with a 1/8 inch ball-end mill for our push rod, and a smooth area here, again a 1/2 inch away from the pivot point. The rest of this is mostly cosmetic, but I'm going to make it to the Edgar T. Westbury design. These features on the side I'm going to make on the lathe. I fabricated this little mandrel that will allow me to load a rocker blank into the lathe and then machine these features here and here to give us this classic look. All right, well, let's load this into the lathe. Now we got to remember there's a left-handed rocker and a right-handed rocker. So I'm going to remember I've got the valve side pointing to me this time. Now, to zero the DRO, touch off on this end here and here, and to touch up on the face, bring it like this. So the first thing I'm going to do is remove the material on the outside and start making the shoulder feature around the nut. Not a bad finish. Okay, looking pretty good. I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to do something a little different here. Instead of using a round tool and put a radius in here, I'm going to just leave this tool in here and just put a chamfer. I think it'll look just as nice. It'd be a lot easier to... I like that. Let's see. All right, there's our first rocker arm. To create the pocket feature for the push rod, I load the rocker into the mill vise, placing it flat on top of parallels. I use the edge finder to locate the feature, a spot drill to rough in the hole, and finally an 1/8 inch ball-end mill to machine 1/16 of an inch deep. Got our little divot for our push rod. We've got one more operation, and that's to case harden the surface that presses against the valve and this surface in here that pushes against the push rod. What I do is I use this. I use Brownell's surface hardening compound. I heat this to a red hot, dip it in the compound, heat it again, dip it in the compound, heat it again, dip it in the compound, and then quench it in water. And I'll do that for all 8 surfaces. So I'll clamp it here and just do this edge here, and then I'll turn it around and case harden this one and then carry on with the other. Let's call those done for now. Let's move on to the rocker arm pivot bracket. Again, I've cut mine out. Just need to do some finishing operations. Round off this end here, drill some holes, drill some mounting holes, and then drill some holes for the set screws. All right. So this is actually a good example of how not to work hold. This part is cantilevered up in space, and there's a lot of vibration, number one. Number two, it's probably easy to get ripped out of the vise. I think I just got lucky. We removed a very small amount of material on the final finishing pass and got away with clamping the part like this. This clamping method is a little bit more work, but is much more secure in the vise. The balance of the features for our rocker arm pivot are straightforward holes that we dispatch quickly using the mill. And that completes the rocker arm pivot bracket. Well, there's our rocker arms and our rocker pivot bracket. We can add these to our parts kit. Starting to run out of things to make. All right, we're making good progress on our Wallaby 30cc engine. Well, I'm Greg. Thanks for visiting me in my machine shop. Until next time, take care.